Welcome back to the For the Win Xbox podcast. We got a lot to talk about today. We're going to talk about Microsoft gaming. I don't like that term. We're going to talk about all the doomsday naysayers for Xbox. People were saying Xbox is dying, it's dead, Game Pass is a failure, PlayStation is eating its lunch, there's no reason to ever buy an Xbox, yada, 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 and everything in between. And yesterday, massive Diablo update came out. It's awesome. It's out of beta now. And so we are going to play some Diablo 4, and we're going to talk about everything that's going on in Xbox right now. Buckle up. Let's get into it. All right, John, welcome back to the pod. I'm very happy to be here.
It's great to be here. New season of Diablo.
Greetings.
You look great. Your character looks great.
The season of loot.
Although I will say the color coordination is a little, there's some work. I mean, it's patriotic. I'll give you that. You got the red, white, and blue there.
Yeah.
I kind of like that.
I'm changing my gear every 2 seconds, so.
I made it so I just turned mine off. Yeah, I am just a pale stepchild of Voldemort. That's what I'm like. All right, let's get into let's go do this dungeon, and we'll switch to World Tier 3, where the monsters will be crazier and the XP will be better. But to kick us off, Ryan McCaffrey wrote an article over at IGN, and it's pretty dramatic, I will say. And I think all up, I think it's a good article. It's a thought-provoking article, right? A lot of discussion has formed around this article. Mm-hmm. And so basically, for those listening who don't know, I'll just outline it briefly, and then John, you can kind of give me your thoughts. I'm assuming you read it, or at least had a glance at it. But Ryan McCaffrey, he used to work for Official Xbox Magazine. He's now a writer over at IGN. He basically wrote an article about how he talked with some former Xbox executives, I think even founders, and he talked about how Xbox is changing and how Microsoft is changing. Oh crap! I forgot to turn my minions back on, so I'm running through here with nothing. Oh no! Oh no! Oh no!
Some of
this
them.
is bad. I can't, because I... Okay, I'm backing up. I just totally botched that whole intro. Here, cover me. Botched the intro. Okay, that's good. That's good. Okay. Oh, now I gotta re-put them on. Okay, intro totally botched. Totally botched. Ryan McCaffrey, he just basically talked about how Xbox is in a very, very pivotal moment in time. And the former executives basically said it's not Xbox anymore, Xbox gaming, it's Microsoft gaming. What does that mean? It means they're fighting for the soul of Xbox. And what is Xbox? And there's a lot of discussion around that. And a lot of people seem to think that Xbox is, as a brand, is kind of on its way out. And it's just going to be Microsoft providing a service of games. And it just kind of is this soulless machine that, puts out big AAA games and doesn't really have any strong identity or brand attached to it. So I know I botched the intro, John, but there's a lot of talk this week, and a lot of people online, no one in real life, because people in real life do not talk about any of this stuff that we're talking about.
Yeah.
But people online were like pretty shook up about that statement and about what that means, and especially people like us who have been a part of the Xbox brand since day one. I'll just flip over to you. What are your thoughts when you hear that and you see people chatting up a storm online about Microsoft gaming? That sounds terrible.
Yeah, well, I think the thing to keep in mind is in this article, we don't know if they were executives, but they were just two unnamed former longtime Xbox employees, and he talked to them separately, and they both kind of lamented about the same things, kind of the current state of Xbox. And they say Microsoft gaming, and it makes me wonder, how long they haven't been with Xbox, because Microsoft gaming is like a very real part of Microsoft. In fact, that's what Phil Spencer is CEO of. He's CEO of Microsoft Gaming, because they obviously have a lot of gaming stuff that's not just Xbox. Microsoft has been publishing PC games for who knows how long now at this point. So I think it's funny that they use that in like this negative term, but it's actually like just a branch of of Microsoft. I get the idea, I guess, of what they're trying to say, but I think if you look at pretty much any gaming publisher or studio compared to the early 2000s when Microsoft launched Xbox compared to today, it's like, well, yeah, like there's way more money involved. The corporate structure is like is king, and just, it's not like the Wild Wild West where you had a squad of 20 devs staying up all night for 3 weeks straight to like finish a game or whatever. It's like those days are just kind of long gone, it seems like. Not that it was always like healthy, but that kind of just like culture of we'll do whatever it takes to like release this game on time and in the best possible state, and actually test the games before release and all that. So I get what they're saying, but I feel like it's not just Microsoft. It's just like gaming as a whole has become soulless and less of an art form and a form of fun entertainment, and more of just like a money-making machine. Not that like making money wasn't important back in the day, because you had to stay in business, but it was like, you make a good game, people are gonna buy it. And now it's like, make a game that's from a popular IP and then figure out how to keep people on it as long as possible, and do just the bare minimum to keep people invested. Don't worry, we're going to fix this patch. We're going to fix this on the next patch coming out in a couple of weeks. Don't worry. Like, it'll all be good. Don't worry about it. Just hang in there. We're going to do some updates. We're going to do some buffs. Don't worry. We'll nerf that. Don't worry. And it's just like stringing people along and keeping them playing just as long as it possibly can.
Right. So is this your first time playing Skeleton?
No, I had minion build. This is my first time doing a minion build. I'd have a level 100 Bone Spear Necromancer. I forget which season
nice.
I did that in. I think that was maybe season 2, the vampire season.
Last season, did you take one character to 100 and then quit playing?
I didn't play a single character last season.
Really?
No, there's nothing about it that interested me at all. So the primary reason I'm even playing for this season is because of the changes to the codex. Like, that was my one big thing that I wanted changed, and they changed it.
Right.
And it's awesome now. So
Well, yeah, dude, isn't it great?
So much better to like play the game and feel like your character's getting better and progressing. And it just makes like switching out items and upgrading items not feel like the biggest chore, because you have to like search for that one aspect forever.
Right.
And you can't change to this new sweet weapon because you have to find the aspect for your build. And so
Look at that capstone.
that was easy.
Easy breezy.
Shad.
Yeah, it's very interesting. All the dialogue is really interesting. I can't help but keep coming back to this idea of back in the day, Phil Spencer, Uncle Phil, I remember he said something, I'm pretty sure it was him, where he said, basically something to the effect of, we can't lose our way with Halo. If we lose our way with Halo, we lose our way with Xbox. And, we have seen, like, Halo has been in, like, a nosedive for the last decade. And along with that, we see Xbox struggle to find its identity.
Yeah, he said that in 2011.
Yeah. So more than, it's like, 13 years ago or something.
Yep.
And so it's like, I just think about that a lot. And I think about the games of that 360 era and what made Xbox Xbox. And it really was all those cool IPs and games and things that just made it awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't really have that anymore, which is, as a long time Xbox fan, that's a bummer, because Xbox was cool, and Xbox used to have like, good games that it was like, something you could be excited about. And when you were talking to your friends, do you have Xbox or PlayStation? And be like, yeah, I have Xbox. And you could be like, yeah, I can play Halo, and that meant something. It wasn't just like, oh, cool, some game no one cares about. It's like, oh, like the biggest game in the world right now, you get to play that. Yeah, sick.
Right.
And PlayStation 2 obviously has like one of the best catalogs ever, and it's not about Xbox versus PlayStation, but it's like we don't have anything anymore. You know what I mean? Like, there's just, the only reason I'm on Xbox right now is because, one, my Xbox Live, like, history, achievements, right? You've talked about your history of games and how the achievements, it's just like it tells a cool story of your gaming history and your journey. And so it's like that. I'm in the ecosystem. I like Xbox Live. I think it's a better product and a better service than, Switch has jack all, and PlayStation's is trash. I don't like PlayStations.
Yeah.
But it's not for the games and the controller. Because I've used Xbox controllers so long, I like using an Xbox controller. But it's like, I'm not here for the games, which
Right.
is crazy. That is crazy.
Exactly. And yeah, I don't. It's like if you don't have the games, why make somebody buy your console? You know.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting because I think, I still think like Microsoft is probably the best. It's like the most like pro consumer compared to Sony, and like especially freaking Nintendo. Like Nintendo just gets a pass on all of their anti-consumer stuff. Like it's actually crazy like how terrible they are, and
They're bullies.
nobody says a thing. Like everything from like taking down like YouTube videos to like even just like using clips from games, stuff like that, to keeping all of their old games like locked and like not letting people play them on current consoles. Like just Microsoft's backwards compatibility alone. Like there's no reason for Nintendo not to just release their back catalog and make millions and millions upon millions of dollars, but they just like,
Well, yeah, they don't even have to fight the like licensing and legal battles, right? That like Microsoft would have to,
right?
Because like they own all that stuff.
All their
a
best
lot
games
of it
are like Nintendo published games,
Yeah.
So, their online is like one of the worst ever. And, like their subscription is so bad, but like nobody even bats an eye at Nintendo for the stuff that they do,
Right.
But maybe that's because it's mostly like little kids that play the Switch, like I don't know. So
yeah. Do you think it's they also get a pass because it's Japanese and it's a different culture and people are just like, we're not going to judge them. We're not going to hold them to the same standard we will our American companies. But then there's Sony, so it's like, but Sony has a massive American presence. Like I don't know.
There's just like
maybe
a lot
that's
of double
why
standards. Like people are gonna fanboy for their stuff, but what I don't like is like so-called professionals, like in the press, having those same double standards. Like it's fine for fans of whatever console to, like, do you like what you like, whatever. Talk smack about the stuff that you think is lame compared to your favorite console or whatever. But like, if you're in the press, like, you gotta at least have some integrity with the way you're reporting and painting like an accurate picture of the situation and of what's actually happening in a company to the best of your ability.
Right.
That's like your obligation as a journalist. And I think a lot of the drama that's been like surrounding the gaming industry is just perpetrated by people in the press and just farming engagement, looking for clicks, just coming up with the most bombastic headlines because that's what people click on and watch and read and all of that. So it's like, it's not just like video games, but like the whole, just all the aspects of the industry is just like, it seems kind of rough right now.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about that because again, last week we covered, the studio closures, and we've now had a week worth of, Kotaku, IGN, GameSpot, all these places, a week's worth of articles and tweets and people popping off. And it's like you said, man, I have been blown away by how few original, thoughtful, data-driven, what's the word? Just like sound takes I have seen. 90% of what's out there right now is literally just people saying Xbox is dead. All the Xboxes, like Sony's eating Xbox's lunch, blah, 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 blah. And I'm just like thinking to myself, I'm like, where's the honest conversation? Where's the people who are like actually thinking?
Yeah.
When I see stuff like, people tweeting out consumer confidence in Xbox, and these are like, these are reporters, these are people in the industry. Consumer confidence on it for Xbox is at an all-time low. I'm like, where are you pulling that from?
Yeah, where's
that data coming You're just
from?
ripping that out of your butthole and saying it to get clicks and impressions because maybe you feel that way, but that's not true. Like I said last week, it's like consumer confidence. Okay, who's consumer confidence? Who did you poll? Who's saying that? Okay, 100 people on X or on Facebook or on Instagram feel that way. But out of the hundreds of millions of people who play Xbox, guess what? Their confidence is not on all-time low because they went and they turned on their Xbox and Call of Duty still worked and FIFA still worked and they were able to text their friend and play with them after work. That is 99.9% of the people who play Xbox. So when these guys are like saying all this stuff like we're fighting for the soul of Xbox, it's like, okay, yeah, like I hear you, but also like get a grip. You're acting like the whole, and someone tried to tell me, I wonder what you would think of this. Someone tried to tell me that this is the same type of thing as when I died. I had to itch my nose. I lost like 150 cinders. It's the same type of thing with the Sega Dreamcast. For those who don't know, Sega Dreamcast was Sega's last console, and it didn't sell, and it was the nail in the coffin for Sega, and they then became just a publisher. They just made games, whatever. Mm-hmm. And people are saying this one guy tried to tell me like this is the same thing that happened to Sega, you idiot, look at history, and I'm like, first of all, Sega and Microsoft are two very different companies. One was hard committed on not adapting, and and Microsoft is hard committed on adapting. They're adapting. They're extremely proactive on everything. Mm-hmm. But I'm just curious.
In my opinion.
Yeah, almost a little too much. What do you think about the whole like Xbox doomsday attitude that's coming out from, let's just even be generous. Let's say there's 50,000 people that are saying this and feel this way. Is that really, do we really think like Xbox is just screwed and it's over and it's GG's?
Yeah, I think the minority is very loud. They're the one that are posting. Hold on, I'm like right in the middle of all this.
I know it's kind of hard to talk when you're in the middle of the hell tide.
Oh, they're like 8 levels
like
higher
crap
than
ton
me.
Of guys. My minions will kill them. They're cracked. This is the build. Our very first time we played this game, Lee did a skeleton build, and they were not good. No. And now they've updated, and now they're freaking the best build in the game.
There's
I
like
don't
a
think
trail. Oh, there is one over here. Oh no, he's getting
En
away.
route.
Get him. He's making a portal.
Oh, he got away.
Gosh, dang it. I saw just a trail of gold pieces.
Trail of gold. The best thing I saw this week was from a guy. His name is X1 the gamer, and he posted a video on X and on YouTube where he basically broke down every single Xbox pundit or game journalist's tweets and things, and basically made the point that all of them are failing to see the reality of the current landscape.
Yeah.
And they are giving just tons of like bad information and overreacting instead of giving like real insightful analysis. And it was the best video I've seen all week on this whole subject. Because he talks about how like people, we say, oh yeah, this is happening industry wide, right? We all know that, like, but it's also happening like across the country, and I think it's really disingenuous to take the whole Xbox situation in a vacuum and not look at Xbox's history, not look at what Xbox, what Booty and Phil and everyone has told us, not look at the economy, not look at their plans, and on top of it, not look at the numbers, because the reality is, and this is like, I was saying this last week when I was talking about Power World and Hi-Fi Rush. We all know if Hi-Fi Rush would have made as much money as Power World, we wouldn't even be having this conversation.
Right.
And good games aren't enough. And to sit here and act like, well, you just have to make a good game and everything's going to go away. It's like, well, not if the economy's in the tank.
Right. Not if people don't have money to buy games.
Correct. And so I'm just like, I'm waiting. And if in 6 months Xbox announces we're pulling the plug, because they'll do whatever it takes to stay profitable. Make no mistake. They're going to make money. They know how to make money. They're a trillion, gazillion, bagillion dollar company.
I need your help over here.
Oh, cripes. I'm in a big thing right now. Where are you?
This thing's sucking my life.
Oh, I was in one of those too. I'm running. I got kicked off my horse. I'm here. And so are my minions.
I'm almost out of potions.
Gonna need an ocean. Oh! That was it. I had to bail. But if Xbox goes under in a month and I eat my words, so be it. But I just don't see it going anywhere anytime soon. I think there is a future where maybe consoles are more of a start selling more like PCs, if that makes sense, where it's almost like you buy them online or there's just like a few at stores. It's not what it was. We've seen that in the past, so I wouldn't be surprised there.
Oh, big worm.
But I don't know. Do you have any more thoughts on that?
I already know, like, I could fix everything if I got in a position of power. It would just.
I know you're summer of Call of Duty. What other good ideas do you have to fix Xbox? Assuming it's broken, which I don't think it's broken, but that's a whole nother discussion. I think people are just in their deep in their feelings.
I should qualify. I know that I could fix everything if I wasn't beholden to shareholders,
right? And Microsoft,
because
here's and whatnot.
Even like CEOs, I think are less. It's like the shareholders. The shareholders have all the power, and you have to keep the shareholders happy. Otherwise, they vote to axe you and get rid of you. So like this is, I think you do have to really consider the state of the U.S. economy when talking about Xbox and sales and console sales and things like that. So we're at a time where inflation is sky high. The necessities of life are more expensive than ever. People aren't buying consoles. Maybe it's because there's no games, but also people just don't have the extra $400 to $500 laying around to buy them. Like PS5 isn't anywhere close to PS4 sales numbers. They're going to miss that target, so those are down. Compared to PS2, like they're not even close. They're way off.
Right.
So I think you have to take that stuff into consideration, and the problem is we saw like such a huge boom in like just like in tech and in gaming in 2020 as a result of lockdowns and COVID and all that stuff. So stuff exploded like massively. We saw like, upwards of like 50% growth and blah, blah. And the way like these corporations work is like you have to always be growing no matter what. And so, yeah, we had like 50% growth back in 2020. But then 2022, 2023, let's say you only have like 10% growth. It's still growth, but it's like the shareholders are like, wait, why aren't we growing like we used to be? And they'll see that as like a fall off and a drop off. And it's like we're coming out of like such a crazy like economic situation. And I don't know. It's just like really just needs to be considered, when talking about all this stuff. And I don't feel responsible for console sales necessarily, but I do hold them responsible for like the state of things and like the state of Halo. He said that 11 years ago, and it's like, okay, well. What did you do? And look where Halo is. And look how many people are playing Halo. And the drop-off that happened. And, I think...
It's a great point.
You really do... As much as people don't like you have to have the games. And I think it makes sense for shareholders and all that to go like multi-platform. But like if you want to sell consoles, you want more people playing your games in your ecosystem, like you got to have the exclusives. Like you got to that's what people buy your console for, you know. And you know, my reaction when like what I would have done if I was buying Activision, Blizzard, Bethesda, I would have just been like, yep, these are all exclusive. Don't care. You have to buy our console if you want to play them. Like, then eventually you will start making money on consoles. You know what I mean? And it's like, yep, Call of Duty, it's an Xbox game now. Too bad. What are you guys going to do about it? And because you're Microsoft and can support, you're like $1 trillion company, like you can take the hit for a while, for a long time, you know, until everyone's buying Xboxes and, you know,
don't you think they would be the most hated company in the world of the world of the world?
Maybe.
Is that like a PR like? But what you're saying is it's Xbox exclusive, so PC players you're playing now through Xbox Game Pass, and you're not playing on Steam.
Yeah, like I would just do Xbox and PC, and you know, you definitely don't want to
you're playing
shut out
regardless.
the PC.
You're playing through our ecosystem, like no matter what.
Yeah, but like I would even because for so long Sony always had like exclusive stuff with Call of Duty. They would get what would they get? They would get, I can't even remember. They would get early access and like bonus maps. And, like, at the very least, that would be happening like left and right on Xbox, and at least incentivizing people, if you're gonna keep it multi-platform, to like, oh yeah, there's, you know, I'm going to get it on Xbox because there's more benefits, and I'll get this cool stuff if I play over there, you know.
Now here's the thing, you know, this has been so big, even like mainstream YouTubers are kind of picking it up. Like Asmongold doesn't talk about Xbox a lot, but he was even talking about it a lot this week. And one point he made kind of about what you're saying is, look, he's like, Xbox, the last thing they want is to be accused of being a monopoly and to get the FTC involved again and have to deal with that. And he's like, it's better to take your losses and, you know, you don't be exclusive on this stuff or whatever, than have the FTC breathing down your neck and force you to split up the company. And so he's like, he was basically saying, look, the people at Microsoft are smart. People at Xbox are smart. They're not going to put themselves in a position where they are like riding that line of like, oh, this is probably a monopoly. You know, we need to get involved and we need to break you up and do all this. And so I wonder if they would have gone your route of just like, no, all exclusive now, have to be in our ecosystem, if we would have seen another like, all right, we're getting involved situation. You're a monopoly. And because he's like, that's the worst. That's the very last thing they want, is the government breaking up their company. Because then that's it. It's game over. No pun intended. And so, yeah, they're definitely like, they're playing it. They're playing they're riding a fine line, you know? Because it's like, I agree with you. I feel like as a it's not consumer friendly to make it Xbox exclusive, but it is also like the business. It's like, it's no different than what Sony and Nintendo are doing. But it starts to look like a monopoly.
The next thing I would do that would save a bundle of money is shut down 343 immediately.
Now,
axe every single person and start completely over from scratch.
Now, here's what makes me think. Okay, that this has been brought up a lot this week, right? Halo Infinite. We don't know profit and losses reports, and we don't know all the numbers, okay, about where Halo Infinite's up to, 2 years in. From a, commercial fan standpoint, it's been a colossal failure, okay? They had, what did they have? How many players did they have in the opening week? I don't even remember. It was was it like 10 million or 50 million or some ridiculous number of players in the opening week, right? It's now, barely cracks the Xbox top 20. It's fallen off the map. No one's talking about Halo. No one cares about Halo. It's one of the biggest gaming IPs ever, and it's just fallen off the map.
Yeah.
Wait, shoot, where was I going with that? What were we talking about right before that?
Closing 343.
Oh, right. And Hi-Fi Rush, a fun little game. I played it. People loved it. It wasn't everyone's thing, but it makes you think. They closed the studio that made Hi-Fi Rush. It probably didn't make as much money as people think it did. If they kept 343 open and closed the studio that made Hi-Fi Rush, say what you want about the games, but it's like if 343 is still open, I gotta believe that there's something there. And if Hi-Fi Rush is closed, I'm not certain that I'm not certain that Hi-Fi Rush did make money.
Right.
And so again, it kind of comes back to the big picture.
Sarah Bond said in a recent interview, she got a lot of flack online for just, allegedly saying nothing and just corpo speak, and all that. But if you just kind of read,
don't know how to interpret it.
Yeah, if you just kind of read between the lines, the bottom line is it didn't make enough money, and that's why it closed. These studio, Microsoft is not closing things just to spite people. But they didn't make enough money to sustain themselves, and that's it. I think of the other studios, like a mobile Doom game that nobody's heard of. Of course, that's gonna get shut down.
Yeah.
Of
and
course.
Redfall. Now.
Oh, go ahead. I was just gonna say, you release a terrible game that is panned universally by everyone, and you expect to stay open and keep making games. It's no, sorry, that's not gonna happen.
Yeah. Now, how much of that is on Phil, right? Because when you're the CEO, right? When you're the person in front, you have a whole team behind you, right? When it comes to leadership and stuff, you take the wins and you take the L's. You are the leader. You've talked about holding Phil responsible, but so would the closure of these studios, is that on Phil because Redfall was a disaster on his watch? Did he not even go and look at it? Did he not play it, or did he play it and really think it was okay? Because that's a whole nother discussion. If he played Redfall and was like, all right, this is up to snuff, release, ship, that's a whole nother discussion.
The bottom line is he is CEO of Microsoft Gaming. He is the leader of all things gaming at Microsoft. That includes Xbox. And my belief is that everything rises and falls on leadership. So he is ultimately responsible for everything. They ship a bad game, it falls event. It looks bad for him, The dev who did the artwork on it might not lose their job or whatever, but he's going to be in trouble if they lose $50 million on a project.
Right.
So, I mean, it's easy for me to like be critical.
This
of
is
the decisions he's made and stuff like that. But in my mind, I'm like, okay, if I'm head of Xbox, this is supposed to be the biggest exclusive of like the year for us in Redfall. I'm checking in.
Right.
I'm playing the builds. Like, okay, how are we looking? This isn't fun. Like, wow, this is barely running and holding together. Like, what are we doing? And you, like, what happened to just like delaying games? The game we're playing now, Blizzard used to have this reputation for just the utmost top tier quality, and they'll ship it when it's ready. And you used to be able to like stand behind that and know that, okay, a Blizzard game, they're not going to ship it until it's done, until it's totally polished, and like you're getting Blizzard quality. And obviously that is a thing of the past for sure. So in my mind, like, absolutely it all is his responsibility, and particularly with Halo, when you make such a like big statement back in the day, and like dramatic. It's such a dramatic statement. Like, obviously it doesn't all rise and fall on Halo, but Halo was, the Xbox's identity for so long.
Right.
So to see, I think the fall in Halo is like parallel to the fall in Xbox, and it's like we're seeing them both just kind of floundering, it seems. At least that's like the perception, I guess, that it's giving off. Maybe it's not actually, if you're like looking at financials and things like that, because like revenue is up and all of these numbers are like up, but it's just like a general kind of feeling of things, that people are worried about.
Yeah, and to like bring it back to Ryan McCaffrey's article, I don't think it's a doomsday scenario, but I do think Xbox needs to recapture its identity a little bit. Mm-hmm. And I think it can do that. It can do that quickly. Like, you can give it a year and some change, and we can be back. But I think the Xbox identity comes back to the games and the communities around those games. And if you don't really lock into that, you're just gonna be like Steam. Like, that's all you are. Mm-hmm. What made Xbox great was the Halo community, the Gears community, official Xbox magazine that catered the discussion around all these things, and all the great games that came along with it, and the community they fostered. And that has kind of just fallen a little bit by the wayside, and it coincides with the fall of Halo and the IPs that made Xbox, man, like everything. So,
right,
is Xbox doing fine financially? Probably. They're probably doing better than ever, but are they in a bit of identity crisis right now? I would say probably, yeah. I mean, look at the marketing, right? They don't even know how to market. Like, they don't even know how to just be like, this is who we are.
Who they're marketing to, who they're targeting.
Yeah, these
their
are
target
the games
audience
we
is
play.
Everyone.
Yeah, but when it's everyone, it's no one, man. like if you target everyone, you're not going to reach anyone, I feel like.
That leads me to my next idea would be to Marvel recently did something like this where so for the longest time it's just been like Marvel Studios. And so Marvel Studios producing the movies, the TV shows, and like the animated series. And so you had like this one company trying to just like juggle everything,
right?
You know, and it really showed how like terrible things were because Marvel's had a huge drop off too. But they just recently announced at some event, I don't know what it is, but that they're splitting into 3 different like companies, if you will. So they're going to have Marvel Studios will do like the movies, Marvel TV, and then Marvel Animation is going to do like all the animated stuff. And so now you have 3 different entities. They don't have to like, you know, totally rely on just one thing. They can just run in their lane.
All the red tape.
Yeah, just run in their lane and be like, okay, cool. This is like where, you know, we're the animation studio. That's what we do. We animate. So I think it would be beneficial to Microsoft to maybe split up the gaming and have just like, you know, Xbox Mobile. It's obvious they're trying to do something in the mobile space. Have Xbox, I don't know, call it like Xbox, maybe not Xbox casual, but have something that's catered to more the casual.
Yeah, Xbox
where, like,
Mobile.
All of the...
Oh, you're talking about not mobile.
Yes, this is a second one. You know,
Ritual over here.
So have like Xbox Mobile, and then have another one that's like Xbox Casual, where you have like all of your Minecrafts and all of that kind of stuff, and like your I don't know, just like kid-friendly games and all the casual games and all that stuff that they care about.
Yeah.
And then just have like, I don't know, Xbox Triple X, which is like all of the teen and above like rated
Max
games
Payne,
or whatever.
Nudie Girls.
That's like, you know,
Triple X. That's hilarious.
Something like that, to where it's just like, okay, this is like Xbox.
Right.
You know, you turn on, if you have your console set to that setting, then you turn it on and like it gives you the green dashboard, you know, and like, okay, this is for like hardcore gamers, you know. Like this is you know, you put your settings on this, and this is where you come to play like Gears of War and Halo and like the hardcore games and stuff like that, like the mature games. But
that's an interesting thought.
And just so you can have like people focus on their things and just be like, okay, we know that this is the audience we're targeting, and we know this is who we're trying to sell to. Like, we're not trying to sell to every single person ever. Like, that's such a bad strategy, and I think that's why Halo struggles so much. Like, the fact that it's rated teen just like annoys me so much, because it's just worst. Like a totally unnecessary, like, it's the decision was not like an artistic decision. It was made specifically to increase sales. Like, it was a heartless, soulless decision to make it T for teen and to tone down the violence and the swearing and all of that stuff, because obviously the rating doesn't really matter for sales, because look at Call of Duty.
Yeah.
The most popular game in the world, and it's very violent and bloody and all of that stuff. And I mean, even it's been kind of toned down a bit, but still, it's rated M, and yeah, it does just fine for sales.
Yeah, I love that idea. I think splitting up Xbox into areas that are focused. So you have like Xbox Next, which is focused on the next generation of gamers. So it's younger titles. It's focused on mobile, and because that's the whole next generation of gamers. They're all mobile gamers.
Yeah.
And then you have like, Xbox, which is, I don't know. I don't even know what you'd call it, but you have, that, average gamer who's not a kid, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know how Netflix just has like their kid version. It's like you almost got to do that, and have a whole department that's focused on like reaching those people, and then just let your traditional Xbox stuff reach the mainstream gamer. Because it's like they're just trying to reach every single demo, and when you start dipping into like sixth graders,
they're trying to do that
like,
with like every game. You know what I
right,
mean?
right.
Like,
That's what I'm saying. It just kills the vibe. Kills the whole.
So, and part of that is just
vibe.
like the industry too is so hung up on just taking everyone's money and time. That's like the primary objective.
For sure. I do think there is something in that, though. In regaining, I think Xbox can regain its identity pretty quickly if they kind of split up and decide who they are going to focus on, and let this section of Xbox focus on the kiddos, mobile games, kid games, whatever, that next generation, because good Lord, there's a lot of them. I mean, there is a lot of them. So it'd be dumb not to do that. We are, me and you, the 30-year-old gamers, we are like probably the smallest sector of the gaming industry. So don't they can't cater to us, but the problem is, they're, like you said, they're trying to cater to everyone, but like have those segments. They talk about game preservation. It's like, yeah, put your like money where your mouth is and start putting some things together for like that can be focused on all those demographics that buy your consoles and play your games.
Yeah.
I never thought about that, them splitting up, because you're right. Now that I think about it, I'm like, okay, Xbox. And I think about Xbox identity. What is Xbox's identity? If you would have asked me that question in the 2000s, the early 2000s, well, I wouldn't have known what to say because I was just a kid. But when I look at it then, I'm like, sleek, cool, futuristic. The like a cool gamer, and like PlayStation 2 was in that kind of vein too, and you look at their marketing and their branding, it was like what's the word, I'm like unapologetic, edgy, yeah, very in your face, and we love, these are the games we like, and this is what we're gonna play, we're gamers. And you look at it now, their marketing, you're like, I don't know who Xbox is, what Xbox is.
Here's the next change I would make. This would be my final change, I'll say. I really want to know what someone like Sarah Bond's gamer score is. I would not have anyone at an executive level with a gamer score below 100,000.
Ooh, hot take. Hot
Like that is the
take.
minimum to be an executive at Microsoft Gaming. Phil Spencer's above that. He was above that.
Yeah,
last
well, and
time
he
I
plays, and that's one of the reasons. Like you have to respect the man because you cannot say he's just a suit pushing, boot licking, like non-gamer. The dude plays games. Like you don't get over 100,000 gamer score if you hate playing video games.
checked. Right. So wait, let me see.
That would be a hot take, I think, because do you have to have over 100,000 gamer score to be a good C-suite executive of a company, of a $1 trillion company? No. But when you're talking about video games and understanding consumers, understanding gamers, I think you're right. You have to know video games. You have to know what's fun, know what you like, know what other people like. You have to be in the mind of a consumer, and you do that by being a consumer. And yeah, I mean that's kind of feels like a hot take, but I would tend to agree with it. It's kind of like, if you wanted to be on the C-suite executive team of like In-N-Out Burger, but you're a vegetarian and you don't like burgers.
Right.
It's kind of like
so Phil Spencer is sitting at a cool 101,000 right now. 101,842 to be exact. So in my mind, like that qualifies you to be an executive at Xbox or Microsoft Gaming. Like that's good enough.
And just for reference, mine's 32,000.
So you have a ways to go.
He's blowing me out of the water. John, you're at like a couple. No, you're at almost.
Because what that also tells me is you don't get to that number by playing the same 2 or 3 games like a lot of people do.
Right.
Right.
Like me.
Right. So that to me is very well-rounded, seasoned, just played a lot of stuff,
right.
So I just like, dude, show me, like when I hear these corpos talking, I'm like, just what's your gamer score? It could be just like a meaningless number or whatever most people think it is, but like it does tell a story, and it does tell like, okay, this person actually plays video games, actually enjoys them, enjoys the medium that they're like so influential and powerful in, that it's like it just goes back to like 343 hiring people that hated Halo. It's just like, what are you guys doing? Like, how backwards do we have to get before we just like right the ship and just, okay, let's just get people that love games, love making games, that love Halo. Let's just get them pouring their life into it and like pouring their passion into it and get back to what people know and love. But
I agree. I think Xbox is not going anywhere, but if they want to be around for long term and really grow, I think they got to get back to their identity and really take a long, hard look at it. That went by so fast. This is an hour. Anything else from this week for the Win Corner?
I will just run through. There's just like a few kind of announcements that are kind of cool that I just want to run through really quick.
Do it.
Microsoft brilliantly, not sarcastic, they are doing a sale on 360 games. because
Nice.
the Xbox 360 store is going offline in July, so a bunch of over 60 non-backwards compatible games went on sale this week for super cheap. Most of them are less than $5, and they said that there's going to be even 2 more sales. They're trying to just discount as many games as possible from the 360 store before it goes offline. So that's kind of a big deal.
That's cool.
Yeah, so there's some just stuff that's really cheap, and if you don't get it, you can't play it on your Xbox One or Series consoles. They're not backwards compatible.
Just to be clear, it is, you can go on your Xbox 360,
Yep.
right? It's 360, not Xbox One or Series X. If you go on your Xbox 360, go on the store, you can download a bunch of games, and then you'll just have them forever, right?
Yep.
That's great, because they're not necessarily on the Series X store. Is that correct? Am I understanding that right?
Right. They're only on 360. You can't get them or play them anywhere else. So, if
you go buy the disc, if you go buy the 360 disc, you can't even put it in your Series X, right?
No, they're not. Yeah, not backwards compatible.
Gotcha.
So,
Gotcha.
Once they're kind of gone,
they're gone.
They're kind of gone. So
that's kind of crazy also, but we don't have time to talk about all that. But it's cool that they're discounting them.
Right.
I saw 90%, discounts on a lot of stuff, and that's awesome. So go have a look if you still have your 360.
Yep, I set mine back up and was looking at stuff. I was playing some Doritos Crash Course for old time's sake.
Nice.
There was a Toyota Yaris game that I was playing. Some of these games would be just ridiculous to stream because they're just so bad and weird and all of that. But yeah. The other kind of big news that's good for Xbox is Square Enix announced in I think it was in a investors call or conference or email or something like that. They're going to be aggressively pursuing multi-platform publishing in the future. So
consumers
for a long
win.
time, Square Enix has been in bed with Sony, and Sony's got a lot of exclusives, particularly with the Final Fantasy series. And I think all of Square Enix's big games failed to meet sales expectations, and a lot of that has to do with, the PS5, while it's outselling Xbox, is not selling like previous generations. So
right.
Square Enix is just yeah, we're done with that. We're just gonna we want to sell lots of games, so we're going multi-platform.
And I think that's smart. I think that's super smart on them. It's great for us.
Yeah, I mean, if Sony's not willing to pay up for the exclusives, then there's literally no reason to not go multi-platform. So,
yeah. And I don't know. I was gonna put together I want to put together a spreadsheet and look at all the games for the PS5 and all the games for the Xbox Series X, because when I think about games, I can't really think of any on PlayStation on PS5 that I'm like, oh, I want to play that. And
I mean, there's not very many. Like, even just the number of releases, like PS5 exclusive, not PS4, only PS5,
yeah.
and like only like series consoles. Like, there's so few compared to past generations. Like, a lot of the PS5 games that are good are like remasters of PS4 games, just like
right
on Xbox. So it's like this console generation, I think, saw like the fewest just like releases of like new games like ever. It seemed like,
Yeah.
as far as like just exclusively on that console, because everything was just coming out on the same. In fact, I think this is the next Assassin's Creed was announced, and it'll be the first one since 2014 that won't be on Xbox One or like the previous generation. Every single Assassin's Creed for the last 10 years has been on Xbox One, and it's like, dude, we just like never moved to the next generation. We just like we're stuck in this middle ground limbo.
Right. Yeah. Well, who knows? We got is it next week is the showcase, right?
No, I think it's
is that
in
next
June.
Week or two? Oh, maybe it's next month. Is what I meant to say.
Yeah.
We'll have plenty to talk about then. But yeah, until then, we'll see how this goes. No one cares about what's going on with Xbox except for us two and like, 1,000 other people online. So everyone just relax. It's going to be all right. Just play the games you want to play. If you want to buy a PlayStation 5 and play Spider-Man, go do it. Just have fun. Go nuts. If you want to buy an Xbox Series X and take full advantage of Game Pass and all the incredible games there, try them out. Do that. We'll do whatever you want to do. Nobody cares. It's not a big deal. The world's not ending. Xbox isn't ending. It's not the same as Sega, Dreamcast. It's apples and oranges, so everyone just chill. But we're going to just keep playing. And let us know if you have any thoughts, comments, if you think we're full of it, if you think we're right.
This is actually crazy. One last thing.
And John's going to close out the pod with this.
I'm just on Wikipedia. PlayStation 5 only games. There's 15.
Oh, yeah.
15 in like this entire generation. And then PlayStation 4 only games. 58. At the rate like that we're going, this generation's like tailing out. It's like there's no way we're getting anywhere close to 58 games.
No, not at all.
There's only 15. It's crazy. What are we doing? What happened?
Dude. Who knows?
It's just
who
insane.
knows? We'll find out in a few, 10 years from now. We'll have hindsight and be able to know kind of what happened with this generation. Kind of like how we look at the Xbox One now, right? Like how we see the misstep from trying to be like an all-in-one machine, running your cable through your Xbox and TV and all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And they lost the console war abysmally. I mean, it was rough.
Yeah.
And so I think we'll be able to look back on this time and be like, oh, so that's what was going on. But I'm still optimistic because they have a vision, like they're trying to do something. And when I hear Phil talk, they're trying to do something. So I don't think they're idiots. I know all the talk online and it's just so like toxic and they're like, oh, they're just corporate, blah, blah, blah. But I'm like, they're trying to do something. And the talk of like getting into mobile gaming and getting into a handheld and, hearing Phil talk about like, I want a handheld that I can play my Xbox games on. It's like that gets me excited. So anyways, more to come next week. Thanks for listening. I'm still hunting for a job. No job yet. Put out like 50 something applications in the last couple weeks, so we're just, we're still going. But anywho,
We'll get there.
we'll get there. All right. See you guys later. GG's.
GG's.